Hello, socialites. Welcome back to Survivor Social. You heard that right, not Social Hour. That's later in the podcast, and I guess also in Fiji. But this is Survivor Social, the Survivor podcast where we discuss Survivor with a focus on the social elements of the game. My name is Tegwyth, and today I am joined with my incredible co-host, Cara. Cara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about this episode. I mean, we had so many shout outs in it. Like, that was our episode.
I mean, are we famous? Like, I feel like, okay, here's the real question. Do we have any legal grounds here? Like, any lawyers watching? Can we send Survivor a cease and desist? Like, what's going on?
Like, I feel like Survivor saw the show and was like, that's a great name. We're just going to copy it.
I feel like that is like what makes the most sense. Because
Yeah.
I am like reeling. Like every 2 seconds I'd be like, us? Are we supposed to go up? Because also, if you know, we were also at the RHAP live event last night. And so we were watching it with about 900 other Survivor fans. And I was like, oh wait, do we go on the stage? Is it like, do we like, I was like, Cara, we gotta go and I guess talk about our stuff now. It was really
Yeah.
so funny. Obviously, we'll get into the twist a little bit later in the episode. We'll talk about the entire episode front to back. But before we dig into it, make sure if you are watching to like and subscribe to Survivor Now on YouTube and Spotify. If you're watching on TikTok, hello. We are also live on YouTube if you want to check it out over there. And we get to your questions at the end of the episode. So if anything pops up and you want to chat about it, make sure to send it in our in the what is that called? Comment section, the chat section, and we'll definitely try to get to it. We will get to it later on in the episode. But let's dig in. Cara, the episode started. We saw kind of what happened after the basically fallout of the Keyshawn vote. How do you think? I want to start off with this. How do you think Rome handled it first? Because that's like he had like a very interesting like dynamic, I guess. So how did you think that Rome handled it back at the beach?
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize how upset he would be that Teeny didn't tell him that he knew, or that Teeny didn't tell Rome that she knew about the vote. I didn't expect that, but like, it makes sense that Rome would feel some type of way because they thought they were close, whatever, and had like an alliance. But I feel like it is like a tough position for Teeny to be in. So
Yeah.
it was kind of awkward.
Which is so interesting also because Teeny didn't have a vote. So it's like
Yeah.
Teeny did not cast a vote for Rome. Teeny just didn't tell Rome that the other plan was Rome. So really, there were no cast votes, no, not a single vote cast for Rome. But I do get why he was upset. And he said, I can't trust Teeny. This relationship is basically over. I don't think I can work with them anymore. Which I think is a little short sighted. I think you've got the Mergatory coming right around the corner, and I would worry that like if you kind of want to make sure that you are not an early boot in the Mergatory, and so I feel like
Mhm.
any way you can get the numbers is the best way. And right now they're only 4, right? Like they might even go to tribal council one more time. They obviously didn't know this at the time that they would win, but um you want the numbers as much as you possibly can. And so I feel like saying that he can never work with Teeny again is a little bit too premature. Um,
Yeah.
but I totally get feeling upset. Like it stinks when you're not in on the plan. On the other side, Genevieve ran the plan. How did you think Genevieve handled all of
Mhm.
that?
I think she handled it great. Like, even watching Genevieve talk to Teeny and everything, like, I feel like no one really knows that that was even Genevieve's plan. Like, she played it off so well, and like no one's mad at Genevieve. Everyone's upset with Rome or Teeny. And like also for Teeny, I feel like it is a tough spot for them to be in because you don't have a vote, so you don't want too much attention on you when you don't have a vote because it could be so easy for them to just be like, let's just switch it up here and vote Teeny.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think this just goes to show how important your social game is because it
mhm,
was Genevieve who mastermind the Keyshawn vote,
yeah,
and it was Genevieve who got Rome, who got Saul, who got the ducks in the row to get Keyshawn out, But Genevieve has a much better social game than Rome does. Rome is a little bit more direct, is a little bit more forthcoming, is a little bit more, this is what's going to happen kind of a guy. And it just makes it seem, from Teeny's perspective, or even Saul's perspective, any other perspective, that, he's taking this worse. And I just think it goes to show how good Genevieve is at, maneuvering the social aspects of the game, and really making it seem like, hey, even though we didn't tell you about the plan, Teeny, we're still together. We're still in on
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think, Genevieve, last episode and this episode, we're seeing her like for the first time, basically. And I love what we're seeing. Like, I feel like we were robbed of the first 2 episodes, kind of, from the Genevieve.
No. It's very impressive watching Genevieve, how she's played in these past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's very fun to see.
She's incredible. Okay, now, how do you think Teeny handled all of this? We've talked about Genevieve, and we talked about Rome.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Teeny did the best that, she could do. Like, she was gone, she wasn't let in on, well, I guess she knew the Rome plan, didn't know, like, she was also left out,
Yeah.
Like, Teeny didn't know Keyshawn was going, so, like, it's
What
like,
can you
it's
do?
kind of right? Like, it's kinda like a tough situation for both of them, like, they were both left out of a plan.
Yeah, yeah, and it's and Teeny's the plan that Teeny was left out of was the plan that actually happened. And so
Yeah.
I feel like, what can you do? Teeny just has to kind of apologize and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Even if nobody ever really listens to it, you just have to keep on saying, "I'm sorry," because what else can you say? You know?
Yeah.
And I think that Teeny handled it the best that they could. And I think that the fact that Genevieve wants to continue to work with Teeny, I think, is a very, very good thing for Teeny. And
Yeah.
especially, we'll talk about this maybe later in the episode, but especially what we see later on in the episode when Rome goes to Saul and is like, well, Genevieve, that whole interaction. And even then, even like, because Genevieve was able to keep this relationship with Teeny, Genevieve maybe feels like in a better position if she does end up wanting to get rid of Rome. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Why
Yeah,
don't we
Genevieve stays in that driving seat on that tribe for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes. And why don't we just fast forward to this conversation? So it's
Yeah.
Teeny goes and is off at the Survivor Social Hour. Eye roll. And not that Teeny's there, the name. Just okay. So and it's just Saul, Genevieve, and Rome. Sorry. Saul, Genevieve, and Rome
Mhm.
at the beach. And Rome is acting like the vote is in 20 minutes. Rome is acting as if they lost the immunity challenge. They're going to go to tribal council. There's all this scrambling. Genevieve is like, why are we scrambling right now? Like, what is happening? Um,
Mhm.
and Rome tells Saul that Genevieve, what did he say? Genevieve, he was like, I'm not, Genevieve wasn't really feeling you, or what exactly? Do you remember what he said exactly?
Like that Genevieve didn't wanna work with him long term.
Yes. Yes. And Genevieve was like, yeah, that is what I said, but Rome, you're not supposed to say that. And trust can only go so far. Uh, Genevieve may trust that Rome won't write her name down. But can she trust that Rome is somebody that she can devise plans with? That Rome is somebody who can, she can make these decisions with? She might be able to manipulate him, but can she manipulate him and he not tell the plan?
Yeah, I think that's the hard part because Rome likes to talk, so Rome's gonna talk.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was doing a lot during that time where he just, like, didn't have to. He coulda just, like, sat back, relaxed, like, "You're in a good spot, like, you don't have to do all of this." But also, I thought it was interesting with Saul, like, when Rome was telling all of Saul this, and we see in Saul's confessional, like, he was like, "I'm hearing all this stuff, and, like, I didn't know any of this." I was thinking, like, he was gonna be like, "Rome's lying to me. Why am I believing anything Rome's telling me?" But it didn't seem like that was the case at all. It seems like he believes every single thing Rome was saying.
But I will say, I think the reason why Saul was believing what he was saying is because I feel like Saul thinks that he can read Rome. And I think he might be true.
Mm.
Because if you remember back a couple of episodes ago, Rome came back and was like, yeah, he was like lying about the advantage he got or something. And then Saul was like, no, he's lying.
Yeah.
That's fake. That's not right. And so I feel like Saul is able to kind of read Rome in that sense. And so I feel like maybe Saul is confident in that. And that's when he knew that maybe something was up. And I guess Saul can't read Genevieve as well as he can read Rome because Genevieve did lie to
Yeah.
him. But Genevieve was like, well, I can't really work with Rome anymore. And so, I'm very interested to see where these tribe dynamics lead, especially when the merge is coming. Are we going to see this splinter? Are we going to see them hold strong? I think they're going to splinter. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think they're definitely gonna split up. Like, I think for sure. Maybe, like, 1 or 2 of them will stick together, but I don't think all 4 of them are gonna stick
No,
together come merge.
I think you're totally right. I think this is going to be one of those instances where usually I think it's like actually kind of good to go into going to mergatory with lower numbers. Obviously, we're not seeing a tribe with like absolutely decimated numbers like we have in the past. There are 2 tribes with 4, and there's going to be 1 tribe with 5, so it's not that crazy. But
Yeah.
in this sense, I don't think that these 4 are going to be able to keep it together because honestly, these 4, Genevieve really can't trust Rome. Rome is kind of all over the place, but Rome does trust Genevieve. Rome doesn't trust Teeny. Rome never wants to work with
Mhm.
Teeny again. Rome and Saul are like, I don't really know. Saul doesn't really want to work with Rome. Saul and Teeny, we've never seen work together.
Yeah.
Saul has heard that Genevieve doesn't really want to work with him long term. Doesn't, but like, so when you hear that about somebody saying that about you, you probably won't want to work with them in the future. So it's like, I don't even think that 2 of them are going to stick together.
Yeah, I no, and, like, I feel like Teenie is in a good position where Teenie can work with other people, and they'll wanna work with them, you know? So, like, Teenie doesn't really need any of the red people, and, like, I feel like the rest of the red tribe needs Teenie more than Teenie needs them.
I agree. I agree. And we've got this comment. Teeny also has connections on other tribes now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not only did Teeny go to the social hour, but Teeny also has a shared amulet with Andy and Caroline. And Caroline at the social hour said, I already know I get good vibes from Teeny. That is a great sign for Teeny. Amazing
Yeah.
sign. How long did Teeny spend with Caroline? Probably, I don't know, an hour tops. And Caroline's always already like, yes, let's go. Like, that's
Mhm.
great for me.
Yeah, Teenie's definitely in the best spot out of all of them.
I agree, which is interesting because in theory, if you look at it, in theory, Teeny was on the outs at the last vote. So in theory, Teeny is the one who's gonna have to kind of make up. But because I think they're so fractured, and
Mhm.
I really don't see them being able to, stick together. I really feel like Teeny ends up being in the best spot, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah. It's kind
Just
of fun though, because I feel like we don't really see we don't I feel like we haven't seen that much. So, I feel like a lot come merge, a lot of people are gonna be splitting off to new people instead of sticking with their tribal lines. Like, even with, Rachel, I think Rachel is gonna be in a great spot come merge too, similar to Teenie, and I think that's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. Why don't we go over to the yellow tribe? So we will talk about the vote a little bit later, but let's talk about just like the dynamics here in the yellow tribe, right? It is confirmed at the social hour. Well, actually, before we go forward, let's actually talk about this
Mhm.
twist because we brought it up a couple of times. New twist. First time ever in Survivor history, this twist has happened. Um,
Mhm.
they are splitting into 2 teams pre-merge. This is not something not post-merge, pre-merge. And the winning team is going to go to the sanctuary where good things happen and share a barbecue and play cornhole at the Survivor Social Hour. What do you think of this twist in the grand scheme of things? Are you positive or are you negative?
I like it. I like the idea of, like, the mingling with the other people. I feel like, though, I wish they started it sooner. Like, maybe if 'cause, like, now it's, like, going right into merge, so I feel like I don't know. I think I would've liked it even more if, like, the first reward challenge was, like, mingling and or each of them, you know? I think that would've been a fun twist instead of just like the one right before merge. But I like the idea of it.
I totally agree with you. I would also say instead of it being earlier, I'm fine with where it is in the season as long as merge doesn't happen right after. I feel like it'd be
Yeah.
more interesting if merge was like maybe one vote after, so like this vote, another vote, and then mergatory or something like that. I
I
thought my cat
agree.
was knocking something off the table. But I just think that like having this and then right next, like the next thing that we see is mergatory. I think doesn't make it as interesting to see if these connections stay
Yeah.
because it's just so recent in our memory and recent in their memory. This will be like what, 48 hours, 24 hours
Mhm.
even. So it's just like, it's just not as compelling in my opinion.
I agree. I think if they like the twist is great, idea is great. They just need more time in between this happening and merge. And are you okay? Yeah, I think I agree. Are you okay?
I'm good.
She lives.
I live,
Um,
baby. Sorry, continue.
yeah, I agree. I think they just need to have more time in between the mingling and merge, and I
Yeah,
feel like that would make a bigger impact.
I agree. And also, I just feel like, you know, it would be interesting to see if these like connections kind of like if the connections get voted out, how they like maneuver that. We're not going to see that because there's not enough time in between. But I do think that the
Yeah.
tree is interesting. You know?
Yeah. I like the idea of it. I also feel like them mix like, getting to know each other sooner is better, like, even just for the end game too. Because I feel like the sooner you get to know more people in the game, the better idea you have of everyone, and so, like, in the end, when you're trying to, like, choose a winner, like, you know more of the people, you understand more of what's happening, instead of, like, when you're in the end there, and then you're like, "Well, this person I just met like 5 days ago or however long, whatever, like I feel
Yeah.
like it gives them more time to get to know everyone. And I feel like that would result in like being a better juror too,
Yeah,
if
I
that makes
agree.
sense.
I agree. Now, would you have preferred this or a swap?
A swap, for sure.
Yeah. And would you so like a swap and then like mergatory like, two votes and 2 votes later maybe?
Yeah, I think swap, stay on 2 tribes for a vote or 2, and then go into the merge. And forget mergatory. This could be the mergatory,
Could be the
and
merge.
then just go into jury or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think production would let them do a swap without them actually bringing all their stuff? Because
Hmm.
they literally were like,
Yeah.
"Oh gosh, I hope you brought your stuff," because they saw the 2, like, lanes, and they were like, "Oh, no."
Yeah.
Do you think they would let them, like, leave stuff behind?
I guess not. I guess I would probably have to tell them, right?
I don't
To
know,
bring
it could be
everything?
interesting. I mean, we saw, Matt in what, 44? He got there was, like, some kinda swap or something where he left his shot in the dark back
Oh,
in
yeah.
and then he wasn't able to use it.
True. Yeah, I guess they you just have to bring your stuff every time and then be prepared for whatever happens.
Yeah, he was like, "I hope, Franny will remembers to bring my shot in the dark or else I don't have my shot in the dark."
Mm.
So I don't know. I think it just would be, very interesting. Um,
It's it's kind of funny how they, like, have the shot in the dark with them, and it's not just, like, in the voting booth. I think that's kinda funny.
yeah, I had a conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory was that the a shot in the dark was going to be played this last episode. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know why. I just have felt like a shot in the dark is going to be played this season, and it's going to hit. And I've just felt it like this whole time. And I think it's because Jeff had like one interview one time where he brought up the shot in the dark like once. And then ever since I've been like, it's gonna happen, it's gonna hit.
I bet you know what? I bet it hits for Rome. Like, Rome is gonna play the shot in the dark and it's gonna hit because good things happen to Rome. Oh my gosh, are you okay?
I'm
But yeah, I feel like if it's gonna happen for anyone, it's gonna be Rome.
yeah.
And I don't know, and I feel like yeah, I think you're right, like it's gonna happen like soon-ish.
Cara is carrying this podcast off her shoulders. She is really dragging that like that big bag of coconuts by yourself. I don't know what's going on with me, but thank you all for sticking through it. I'm sorry to you or who you guys who are listening to this as a podcast. But I just feel like I'm very interested to see like where these connections go and how we can kind of see them go further.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the social hour though. So we see them split up into two tribes.
Mhm.
Or two groups, pardon me, two groups. So we got the first group is the blue team. Annika, Andy, Rome, Gabe, Saul, Sierra, and Genevieve. So that's 3 yellow, 1 blue, and 3 red. Then we have the yellow team: Sue, Kyle, Teeny, Sam, Rachel, Tiana, and Caroline. That's 4 blue, 1 red, and 2 yellow. Now, obviously, both tribes or both groups have one person from each tribe, which is very, very cool. That doesn't always happen. And I just think that's a very nice little split.
Mhm.
Very yellow team wins, obviously. So we see them go to tribe. We see them go to the whatchamacallit, the social hour. Ugh,
Social hour.
how did I forget
Mhm.
that? Now I was thinking when I was watching this again, I was thinking to myself, what do you think would have happened if the blue team won and went to the social hour? Did you think about this at all, Kara?
No, but that's interesting. I feel like, that would've been an interesting, like, group of people, and I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if it would have changed much,
I feel
but
like I feel like it would have been really interesting seeing Annika, Andy, and Sierra there because
yeah.
Andy hadn't met anybody. Annika had met somebody. I think Annika had met maybe Rome, because Annika lost her
Yeah,
vote,
you're
and I
right.
think she met
Mhm.
Rome. So that would have been interesting because Annika was the one who told everyone, Sierra and Sam are a tight two. They're running everything
Mhm.
or whatever. And so that would have been like an interesting kind of group. Andy and Sierra are working together, obviously, as we saw at the end of the episode, but they're not like close like Sierra and Sam are. So I think that would have been interesting. Gabe by himself would have been very interesting, in my opinion. Gabe is the kind of person who, is kind of busybody's wrong word, like running around, like looking for idols, doing all these things. I think he would have been looking to make some connections. I think the connections he would have made would have been really interesting. And then Rome, Saul, and Genevieve would have also been very interesting because those are the 3 who were correct on the vote. So I feel like it could have been
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Yeah, and that would have, like, I feel like it would have stopped Rome from you know, talking so much about Teenie, but, maybe Rome would have pulled, like, a Tiana and, like, threw Teenie under the bus like Tiana did for, Gabe.
Yeah.
That
AJ
would've
says, I
been
feel like Rome
interesting.
and Saul would throw each other under the bus. Interesting.
Mm,
I could see that. I could see that happening. That was just like an interesting thought
yeah.
experiment that I had. Because I was just like, it's such an interesting group of people. I wonder what would have happened. But we know yellow team wins. They go to social hour, and we do. We see Tiana throw Gabe under the bus in front of the rest of their tribe.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Especially having the entire like, everyone except him there was crazy. Like, what was she thinking?
Literally, and also like to add to that, if you go on like a whatever a reward whatever, and your tribe is in the biggest numbers, that means there are more people who can fact check what happened there. That
Mhm.
means there are more people who can say that didn't happen, that did happen, they said that, they didn't say that. Whereas Teeny, nobody really can fact check until the merge. Teeny can say whatever
Yeah.
they want. They're by themselves. They can go back to their tribe and say, this is what happened, this is what didn't happen, and it could all be a lie, who knows. But when you have 4 people from your tribe, that's when you need to be like, mom's the word.
I mean, I think Tiana still could have done what she did, but just individually. Like, she could have went to Rachel and Teenie and told them separately that about Gabe. Like, saying it in front of everyone, just like in general, I feel like was just not the right move. Like, go to them individually. That way, no one really knows that you're doing it.
Yeah. Tiana didn't realize anyone was working with him. I think
Yeah,
she's probably right. Or at least not working
but
with him close.
still, I don't know. I feel like still, like, why are you gonna do that? You have to imagine it's gonna get back to him, whether it's like from someone on your tribe or at merge. So I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. And I think
I think
that
she could
like
have went about it differently.
yeah, and I think exactly the way you said, she could have pulled people aside. She could have been like, "Hey, this is what," but literally in front of everybody in like a group, like before they were even playing cornhole, like that was wild. And I'm very
Yeah.
interested to see how that, because then we talk about like the blow up after that. Sue tells Gabe, then
Mhm.
Caroline convinces Tiana to go be like, "Hey, apologize," and then Tiana doesn't really apologize fully.
Yeah, it was interesting, like, overall first that, like, Caroline was able to get Tiana to even go talk to Gabe about it, but then the fact that Tiana didn't even tell the truth about it was also crazy because, like, again, the rest of the people were there. Like, he could just go up to any one of them and be like, "Is this what happened?" And then they'll be like, "No." So, like, I don't know. It was a very weird situation, and, like, yeah, I don't know. I was kind of Like, I was kinda thinking, like, they were gonna end up going to tribal and then they were just gonna vote Tiana off. I don't know if
I
that I guess that could have happened too, yeah, because Kyle doesn't have a vote, and that would have been the only person to try
Yeah,
and save her.
yeah. Yeah, I think that would have been very interesting. I kind of felt like that could have happened, but obviously they didn't lose. So, and then they actually came in first, which I was not
Mhm.
expecting, honestly. But it was just truly like that was just a kind of a wild thing. Another thing we also saw Caroline strategizing with, um, Teeny and who was the other person? It was Teeny
Rachel?
and Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting come mergatory. Those 3.
I I feel like that's gonna be, like, a solid group. Bring in Sue, I feel like the 4 of them, like, could actually stick together and do something,
Yeah.
and that's also kinda why I think I mean, obviously, like, the other people don't know this, but, like, I feel like that's why Rachel would have been a better person to get out at this round over Annika.
Hmm. Interesting. And it's just because of this, like, little, like, group chat that they were talking about?
Yeah, like, I feel like if like, looking at it, like, you have to know, like, Rachel has more like, met more people, could potentially have more connections. I mean, maybe that's, like, thinking way too into it and just me thinking that because I, like, watched it happen, but I feel like I don't know, I feel like this should be something maybe they take into account when they were voting.
That's very interesting. I I'm wondering why they did actually go for Annika instead of Rachel, because, like, I do think it all stems back, like, all goes back to not only the Sam and Annika conflict, but, but also the fact that Annika went on this, like, journey, and it got back to them that they are this power couple. I think this is what it comes from, because, like, that is, like, I guess they trust Andy enough that it wasn't Andy. Um, and it, like, if it were Annika, you can't really trust Annika in the future, because then if
Yeah.
Anika's telling all of your stuff, then, like, you know,
Yeah, that's true. I feel like yeah, it makes sense why they did Annika, and it, like obviously, like, Annika and Sam were butting heads for quite a while now, so, of course, you're gonna want someone out that maybe doesn't like you as much, so it makes sense. And yet, she didn't have the shot in the dark, so that's true.
she didn't have the shot in the dark, but also this was obviously, we knew from her reaction, a pretty epic blindside. So
Yeah.
I think that it does mitigate risk when she does not have a shot in the dark. But I truly think it all stems from the fact that, like, I don't know that they could trust her.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that's fair. Like Rachel really gave them no reason to not trust her, whereas Annika like gave them actual reason to show that she's distrustworthy. And like I do think like come merge, like I don't know, she probably would try and like make new connections.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess depends. Well, I don't know. Maybe Annika would have stayed loyal to Rachel and Sierra had she stayed, but
It's
not to Sam,
the
so
big
or
yeah,
Andy.
the big question is this good for Sierra's game? Like, this is a thing that I've been thinking about. Like, I go between yes and no quite often. Then we got this comment, Sierra going for Sam would have been best for her game, you think? I don't know that I agree. I
Mm,
thought about that, but, like, I don't know.
I mean, I think that would have been an interesting move for Sierra to take, but I mean, there was no way that was gonna happen at this vote with Annika not having a vote. Maybe if she had a vote, that could have happened, but I don't think that would have been smart going into merge with Sam not being there because I feel like Sam's always gonna be a bigger target, but it is a little scary, I think, for Sierra because they could just be like, "We'll just take out Sierra. She's an easier get than Sam, maybe, potentially."
Yeah. I
I don't
kind of
know.
feel like not only is Sam gonna be a bigger target because of literally just how he looks and just all of that, but also
Yeah.
I don't think you wanna get out somebody that you trust this well, this much, right when you're about to right when you feel like a merge is coming, because
Yeah.
you don't wanna be that mergatory boot. You do not want to be that person who is, like, in all the scramble, like, "This is what's happening," and if you have somebody that you trust like Sam, like this Sam and Sierra, like, bond, why go for this person when you could, in theory, get them out later? You know what I mean? I do think
Yeah.
that she needs to cut Sam at some point. I just don't think now was the time or is the time. And so that's kind of why I feel like it's just not the right that was the right time for him, pardon me.
Yeah. No, I think Sierra did the right thing. I think sticking with Andy and Sam was the right move for Sierra, and I feel like Andy is going to be a loyal person. I feel like I would be very surprised if he, like, switched up on the 2 of them. Um, so I feel like building that trust with Andy is good, and I mean, Sierra and Sam are just close, so, like, I feel like you don't wanna yeah, like you said, like, you don't wanna cut someone that close to you going into, um
Yeah.
going into the merge.
And I will also say, like, I could see Andy turning on Sierra. I don't think I could see him turning on Sam right about now. You know?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe he would turn on Sierra, but, like, I don't
Only
know,
when
I guess I could see Andy either being, like, super loyal or, like, just completely, like, switch up and, like, find new people and just hop around.
yeah, let's talk about Andy for a second. The edit of Andy playing Annika and Rachel was too good. Agreed.
It was so good. Like, I'm like, I think I saw a tweet and it was like, "This is the Andy show," and, like, it really is, and I'm loving it. I think Andy is great. He is I don't know, he's whatever he's doing is, like, just working, and I am really enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like, that edit was really good, well done by the editors, but also, like,
Mhm.
perfectly played by Andy. Like, when you're down on the bottom, use that to your advantage. If you feel like you have an in somewhere, use that to your advantage and be like, "Hey, guys,
Yeah.
I'm here. What do you wanna do?" And then it turned out to be Sam, and he was like, "Great," it just was perfect. And I think this was said last night, Andy is one of the best in recent times, like, player at being aware of himself and how he is being perceived.
Yep.
And obviously that comes from, the thing that happened day 2 or whatever it was. He knew that was a mistake. He didn't think that, like, "Oh, man, that was nothing." Like, no one even thinks about that. Like, he knew. He said it, "I know that that's not how you play Survivor. I know that's not what you're supposed to do." But he used that mistake. He is using that mistake to his advantage, and he's knowing, like, this is how people are, gonna react to me. I know how people are gonna see me.
Yeah. No, he's very socially aware of how everyone is viewing him and viewing each other. And that's the best thing you can have in this game,
Yeah.
social awareness.
Social awareness is like so important. Survivor Social. But it's not only being a social player, but it's also just like knowing where you stand, knowing how you're
Yeah.
being perceived. That's why when people go to the end and they're shocked that they get 0 votes, maybe it's because they don't really realize how they're being perceived or how people are perceiving other players. And I think that this is really gonna, if Andy can make it to the actual like merge jury portion of the game, I think this is actually going to be a huge benefit to him because
Yeah.
he is showing that he knows how people view him. He is using that to his advantage. And all it really depends on if he makes it further in the game, if he can flip that, if he can get people to see, hey, I wasn't a goat. I wasn't somebody who was just brought to the end. I did X, Y, Z. Here's why you should vote for me. I could see him going far if he can obviously make it. But
Yeah.
he just has to have that right argument.
I really think Andy is going to go far. And then they'll realize like he was playing the game from day one. Like we had the chance to take him out, we missed it, and look at him now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he's gonna go far.
I feel like so too. Or I could see him being like Mayor Ponderosa. But the thing about this also, Andy has that relationship, we talked about it earlier, with Teeny and Caroline. And if Caroline feels good about Teeny, I'm guessing that they feel the same way about Andy.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I feel like there is a world in which, like, if they all feel like they fit and can work together, like he could go further. I don't know.
Yeah, Andy's gonna have options,
I think he will.
which is great.
I don't know if you guys can tell, we're Andy stans here on this
Yeah.
pod. We love Andy. Andy is
Mhm.
on Kara's team. I almost had him on my team. I missed him by that, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be like it's very interesting. And I think I like the way he's
Yeah.
playing.
And he's getting a really good edit, which I feel like
That's also a good
is
sign.
yeah,
Can we
very
talk
good
about
sign.
the I have been planning your demise for 10 days and this is your tombstone or whatever he said?
That
Iconic.
was so good. How did you
Iconic.
think of that?
A little birdie told me he thought of it about like an hour before it happened, or like 20 minutes or something. Like he thought of it like very quickly. I heard through the grapevine, and so it's just like that is genius. It's so good,
Mhm.
and like bring back sassy confessionals, voting confessionals.
Yeah.
You played a good game. Like I'm so happy for you. Boo.
We want
Annika,
savagery.
yes. And this is another thing I've said, like, Annika used her I don't have a vote and was like, if I could, I would, Andy, bye. Like, so good.
Yeah, so good. That I feel like that Andy voting confessional is just gonna go down in history because it was just so good. He was probably so excited to like get to say that. And like it was a great moment.
Yeah.
And that whole tribal was like really filled with great moments.
Yes, it really was. It was I really like this episode. In my like little like recap video that I do right after the episode, I said, "Is this my favorite? This is my favorite episode of New Era." I feel like that was maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I definitely think it was a very good, fun episode with a lot going on.
Yeah. And like
Now,
not knowing if Sam's gonna play the idol or not. That was like
true,
another thing that was interesting.
and
And I don't know. I feel like oh, a fake idol. Oh, I guess he could use it as a fake idol now. That's interesting. I wonder if he thinks of that.
literally, you've got the goods,
Ooh. Well,
and
can't he just go out and finds it again now since it like expired?
I guess, but like it's good to have like that backup.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Also, though, I feel like if he was to play it on Andy, I cannot imagine Andy being mad about it.
True.
You know? I
I
feel
can
like if someone
imagine.
plays an idol on you, like I feel like that shows like they want you here, like that's trust,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
what I can imagine is in the moment, Andy would be very happy, very excited. And then like 5 or 6 days later, he's like,
Think
man,
about it.
maybe not 5 or 6 days, but like a little bit of time, just think about it more. They go more and he goes, oh, wait, I'm happy he used it on me, but like he told me the girls had it, you know?
True. Yeah. Well,
Um,
maybe it won't come up and then they won't have to worry about it. But I feel like there could have been ways around it if he did want to use it.
yeah. I think he might find another idol. I will also say, thinking about it, we only saw him tell Sierra that it was good one tribal council.
Oh.
I think. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I'm thinking about this. I know because he found the idol with Sierra. We have not seen him talk about the idol with Annika, Rachel, or Andy since. I mean, I guess he talked about it with I guess Andy's not a part of this, but we haven't seen him talk about the idol with Annika or Rachel since he found it.
Hmm.
I don't think, and again, I could be wrong. I don't think that they knew it was only good for one tribal council because he didn't know until he actually opened the key. So, like, what if
Right.
there's a world that Rachel thinks he still has an idol?
She probably does. I'm surprised it didn't come up more from like you would think maybe that like Rachel and Annika would have said something to Andy that like, oh, Sam has an idol. I
But
don't know.
they thought that Sam was working with them.
True.
Why would they do that when
I
they,
don't know.
you know? So what if there's a world in which like Rachel goes to this merch store and tells everyone that Sam has an idol? What do you think would
That's
happen?
probably gonna happen.
What do you think? How do you think people will respond? Do you think people will try to go after Sam?
Yeah, I feel like people are gonna go after him regardless, and the idol, him potentially having an idol is just not gonna help.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll save him because they wouldn't want. See, okay, I feel like this is a scenario where if they think he has an idol, they'll try
Okay.
and go for Sierra, and that will, like, she'll be the collateral damage of Sam.
Who said this? This AJ. Sam has an idol, fake idol. You brought up a real
That,
good topic.
yeah.
That's very interesting conversation. I'm very interested to see how this plays out because like, do you think that note even says like, do you think he has a note that he can use? Like he can
Oh,
just tear off the part where it just
mhm.
says like only good for one tribal council.
Maybe. I mean, would he? Well, I don't know. I don't remember like what it looked like the note when he read it, but I feel like
This is
just even having the idol is like good enough just to show.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting rabbit hole we went down, and I'm very interested to see
Yeah.
how this plays out. In maybe not next episode, but the next couple of episodes. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Um, let's talk about the challenge, the immunity challenge. So everyone goes back to camp. We already talked about what happened there, but how did you feel about this immunity challenge? Have you ever used the wrong side of a knife, Kara?
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. That whole little scene of Andy sawing the rope the wrong way. It was just so Andy. Like,
The GIF is the funniest thing you've ever seen. It
it's
is
so
literally
funny.
print out a GIF and put it on my wall. I would like it's the funniest GIF from Survivor, maybe
So
ever, maybe
funny.
ever.
They knew what they were doing by putting that little clip in the episode.
Oh my god, they knew exactly what they were doing. Oh my god. Now I have a question for you. If you are on the Yellow Tribe, would
Mhm.
you choose Andy to be in that position? He's
No.
stabbed the bag before. He's been that person like every single time.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, like, how are you supposed to know that he was gonna saw it with the wrong side? Like, maybe he got nervous, he wasn't paying attention to which side, like, I feel like it's a fair mistake.
No, it's a totally fair mistake, but like, he swam on that one challenge and it took him a second to get the buoy back. Like, I just don't know that if
Yeah.
I'm the other tribe members that I would be
They
like,
probably
hey,
should have given it to someone else.
yeah, like giving it to Sam. And I don't know. I think actually Sam and Andy are probably similar height, so it's not like Sam's much taller, but like, I don't know. Why are we seeing the same people always stepping up? Like it's
Yeah.
Rome doing like why did they let Rome do the puzzle? Last episode. Why did they give Andy the saw? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and, like, we saw a few episodes ago, like, Sam was trying to, like, cut the rope or whatever it was at the camp, and Annika was like, "Do it this way." Like, They probably should have had Annika do it.
Well, Annika was
Or
sitting
was
out.
Annika sitting out? Oh,
So
okay.
then Sam would
There
be
you
the next best option
go.
because Annika
Yeah.
taught Sam how to do it.
Yeah. It should have been Sam.
I don't know. It was Sam. And with a puzzle that close, truly uh, a little bit of time. They took a little bit of time getting those coconuts. It took a little bit of time to do all the stuff, and everything kind of added up. And they
Yeah.
ended up losing, obviously, but I was very
It was
sad.
close
I was
though. It was
so
very
close.
close.
Sorry.
It was so close. I don't know. I kind of wish that the blue tribe threw it. I don't know. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I feel like it would have been like fun to have
Why?
that
Why
all
would we have
came
done that
out.
though? Just to get Tiana out?
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. I feel like
No
throwing
offense,
a challenge
Tiana.
is just so very intense. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when we see people throw a challenge, it is because they need this person out. And I don't know that they really feel like they need her out quite yet. Because I don't think Tiana knows that there's this rift.
True. That's true.
I
I
do.
guess it really only would like benefit Gabe and like that would have
Yeah.
been satisfying for him, but like I don't know. I feel like it would have been interesting.
It definitely would have been interesting, and it definitely would have been interesting. We end up seeing Yellow obviously going to tribal council. Sierra, Sam, and Andy vote for Annika. Annika does not vote. Rachel votes for Andy. Truly let's talk about this reaction from Annika. One of the
Pure
biggest
shock.
reactions in the new era.
Mhm.
Maybe one of the biggest reactions ever. The only ones that I can think maybe top it is Michaela.
Yeah.
Maybe Dre.
Kelly.
What'd you say?
Kelly.
I don't even think that Kelly's is bigger. Kelly's was crazy, but Annika was
It was a moment. Like
yeah,
it was like a scene. Like it was like a movie scene.
it was crazy. And then she goes and was like, "Who did this? Like
Yeah.
you? Was it you?" Like that. It was really. And then the fact that she also walked away crying, heartbreaking,
Mm,
heartbreaking.
I know. I feel like being blindsided like that, I don't know, that has to be like really, really difficult.
Yeah. And I will say, I think, she's taken it pretty well from what I can see from, social media and all that stuff. Like, she seems to be in good spirits. I think a blind side is kind of a badge of honor because it's happening more and more now because of the shot in the dark. But, if they get you out like that, it's because, you're a good
Yeah.
player or they think that you're a threat to them. And that is kind of a badge of honor. But, it was a really crazy reaction. I was sad. It was sad watching that.
It was. And like she also like the shot in the dark wasn't even a variable for her, Annika. So like they didn't really need to like maybe do the whole blind side thing, but like I guess if you're gonna go out, you might as well go out in a cool way. And a blind
Yeah.
side's a cool way. Everyone's gonna remember this. And like even the fact that like yesterday, like so many like the whole auditorium of people watching it with Annika and like her showing up in all black and having a veil like she had on later on, like I feel like that's also kind of cool. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I will also say I think that she is me though on the screen. Like that is how I would react if I'm being completely honest. Like I would be sad, upset, mad. Like I'm happy we're getting these kind of reactions again. And it's been like this almost every single time this season. Really, the only
yeah.
one time we didn't get this kind of a big reaction was from John Lovett. Um, and but with TK, it wasn't as big, but he was clearly really sad. With Asia, I mean, she was like, "That hurt, guys. That really, really hurt. Was it you? Did you do this?" There was that. And then I thought that Keyshawn went out with a better, with a more good game kind of vibe. And then I rewatched it and he definitely did not. He was like,
Mm.
wow, I did not. He his head dropped and he was like, I didn't want it to happen like this. and he was like upset too. And I'm just like, I'm happy we're getting these kinds of emotions back because it just shows you that yes, it's a game, but there's a lot at stake here. It's people, your dream, you're losing $1 million basically. And it just is such a shocking way to go out. So
Yeah, and, like, bring back people being upset that they're voted out, like, you don't have to say "good game" to the people who just voted you out. So, yeah. Hi. But, yeah, like, I feel like yeah, I don't know, bring back being upset that you're voted out, like, I think
yes,
that's valid, like and also, like, I feel like that is your moment, like,
yeah,
Annika took advantage of that moment, had a moment, people are gonna remember it, like, that's your last moment on the show,
yeah.
like, own that moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will also want to talk about this photo because she does ask like who did this, like who, and then Sam basically was like that was me. Andy was like it was the three of us. Do you think this was a good decision from Sam?
No, I thought that was a little weird that he was like, "It was me," but
Like, do you think
I guess
Rachel
it's
is going to use this to her advantage later when like mergatory time?
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I think she's gonna use every little thing that she could use against them, especially Sam going into the merge.
agreed. Agreed. I'm very interested to see, how this all plays out. I can't wait for next week. Kara, as I always do, is there anything this episode that you wanted to talk about that we did not talk about before we go into
Hmm.
our commercial break?
I don't know. I feel like we kind of covered it all.
I agree. I agree. I feel like it was
Yeah,
a really good episode. I loved, like it was so much fun watching that with like 900 other people. It was a
it
vibe,
was.
truly a vibe. It was so much fun. And I really cannot
Yeah,
wait to see it. This season is just keeps getting better and better and better and better.
it's so good. I really like everyone. You know what? The one thing I wish they would have showed was Gabe alone on the beach.
True.
I feel like, I mean, who knows what he was doing, but like, I feel like it would have just been funny to see like a clip of him alone.
I agree. I think that like cutting to him, like Tiana talking about him, and then cuts to him like just like lying there by himself.
Yeah,
Cuts to Tiana,
that would have been funny.
he's probably looking for an idol right now. Cuts to him lying down on the whatever. I think that'd be really funny. I think
But
it's really
yeah,
fun.
great season so far. Great
Great,
cast.
great season so far. Make sure those of you who are watching stick around after this ad. We're obviously getting to the original social hour, where we get to all of your questions that you sent
Mhm.
in. As always, we're also going to go to our award season, crown the social butterfly, our sweet thing of the episode, all of that good stuff. So make sure to stick around right after this ad.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I am here with Survivor Now podcast, the best source for Survivor information, to show off what I do for a living. So I make custom Funko Pops. If you haven't seen or heard, you can check it out on Instagram at Todd's Pop Shop, or you can message me, toddspopshop@gmail.com, to order your own. And if you mention this podcast, you will get $10 off and a free torch. So it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to show you a few right now. We've got Troyzan here, Phil from The Amazing Race, JLP, host of Australian Survivor, and look, little Charlie. Anybody you could possibly imagine or want yourself playing an LRG or an ORG, or just with your loved one or family or pets or anything like that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to make it. You also have the chance to win a free custom pop if you sign up for Survivor Now Podcast Fantasy League. So it's pretty awesome. And it's fun. Like, who doesn't want to be a part of that? So yeah, hit me up. Get your custom pops. It's great holiday gifts, great birthday gifts. We got a new season of Survivor right around the corner. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Let's get this going.
Again, interesting word choice from Survivor this past episode for this new reward. And the way he said it also makes me think that like this is going to happen more. We're going to be
Yeah.
on Survivor more and more.
When I first heard Jeff say it, I was like, everyone stop, like, he just said Survivor Social, like, that was crazy.
Survivor Social, the fact that he said, like, literally we have a segment called Social Hour. It's
Social hour.
That's much? Excuse me? Okay, Jeffrey.
Insane. And he said and it was said so many times that, like, I don't know. It was just crazy.
It was really crazy. It was almost as if like they were saying our first name. Like I would
literally
reaction if he said like Tegwyth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a crazy thing. So we didn't have a ton of questions sent in ahead of time, but I did get some that you guys sent in throughout the episode, as well as some that I got on TikTok. So let's start with this one I got on TikTok. QLex999 says, thoughts on Rome crying in a deleted scene. Did you see this?
Ooh, no, I didn't. Why was Rome crying?
Yeah, so in the deleted scene, basically they came back from the challenge and they're carrying the, like, they won, right? And Rome just starts crying because he's so happy that he doesn't vote anybody out.
Aww.
It is a really touching scene.
I love Rome.
No, I really I think that like they're trying to make Rome the villain of the season, and I totally get needing a villain, wanting a villain. But I also think that nowadays Jeff and other people are looking to have like, you know, a more well-rounded villain, a more well-rounded like antagonist. And I think that like keeping this into the actual episode would have been really nice, because I do think it would have humanized him a little bit to people who were ragging on him. I mean, people on the internet are calling him a bully and like all of this stuff, which just seems so icky to me. I don't know. So I thought it was a really, if you haven't seen it, go check out the deleted scene.
I need to watch that. Yeah.
Really touching. It's really sad.
Also, I just remembered one thing we didn't talk about was the Yellow Tribe like negotiating with Jeff over the chickens and the Well, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see this comment.
That was a crazy. I think that the chicken, as a vegetarian, I think the chicken reward is silly. I don't think it. I think the idea of the chicken reward is fine. Obviously, like, you know, kill the chicken. I mean, don't do that. But I think the reason why we had that deleted scene a couple of episodes ago of Sierra not being happy that they were eating the hermit crabs was because we were going to see why they gave the chickens back, because I think it was like 100% Sierra, which I love you, Sierra. Good job. They kept saying it was because Sierra wants to see a money. And I'm like, no, it's because Sierra doesn't want to see those chickens killed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It is kind of like a weird thing to win. I don't know. And like, I don't know. It's weird. If I was in that position, I wouldn't want to kill a chicken. And then I also probably would feel like weird knowing that someone just killed this and now we're just going to eat it. And like, I don't know. I feel like I probably wouldn't even want to eat it at that point. But like, I'm kind of impressed that they even thought to bring it to the challenge and like give it a shot like that. I feel like that was whoever thought of that was interesting.
I agree. And I think that like I'm very impressed that Jeff even was willing to negotiate with them, because like I think that like in the olden days of Survivor, Jeff would have been like, no, goodbye. See you later. Don't even talk to me. But I think that like it was interesting that he was willing to negotiate. The fact, I thought that they were gonna get like 6 eggs or something. Like he was like, you had the chickens for a couple of days. Too bad. This was the reward. You know, move on, whatever. You can have 6 eggs, same thing that the second place got. But the fact that they got 18 eggs is pretty impressive. But we have a question. How many eggs do you think they're actually going to eat before the merge, though?
Well, I guess not many if they don't have fire.
Another question. Why don't they have fire?
I know.
I don't care how confident
you are the fire.
Prowess. Make sure you have a fire going or some kind of way to get a fire back when you're going to a challenge.
Yeah, like why are you letting the fire die?
I remember somebody was talking about how in the new era it wasn't even that big of a deal when you get the flint taken away from you because you got the fire going. So it's like not even that big of a deal. And now we find out they let their fire die.
Like, what are they thinking?
What are they thinking? And so who knows? They're probably gonna have to split all of these eggs up between 13 other people, and they're not even gonna do. At this point, do you just eat the raw eggs?
Ew.
Disgusting.
They might. That's kind of gross, but maybe they would. I don't know.
I mean, can you eat raw eggs? You can, right?
I think so.
People
Can
put
they
them
just
in
start a
movies.
fire like without the flint?
I mean, I think it's
Wait,
just
didn't
harder.
we see in like episode 1, didn't we see Sierra start the fire without flint?
No, I think she had the flint.
Oh, she had it.
No, wait.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because
Maybe.
I don't know. Well, maybe they'll hide some of the eggs for themselves and be like, oh, we ate some, but they have a secret stash of like however many.
I know.
But it is impressive how many they got because they asked for 2 dozen and they got 18. So like they almost
No, they asked for 3
were at
dozen.
it.
No, they asked for 2 dozen. You're right. No, I'm sorry. 36 would be a lot.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
But I thought the eggs were very interesting. I love watching negotiation. This negotiation was not as good as Angelina's negotiation, but like no one can beat Queen Angelina. You know what I mean?
No. So true.
All right. We have another question from D-Lo. Who do you all think will be gone first post-merge? So basically, mergatory boot. Who do you think it's going to be? I don't know.
I think maybe Tiana.
I think Tiana. I was about to say it exactly. It's probably going to be Tiana.
Yeah, I feel like there's just like a good case for Tiana to go there.
Yeah. I think Tiana already threw Gabe's name under the bus, but Gabe has a closer alliance of 3. Tiana only has an alliance of 2. Now, Kyle was also at the thing, you know? So like maybe Kyle was able to make headway with like his group, with that group. But like I just feel like they're gonna be willing to throw Tiana under the bus.
Yeah, and Kyle doesn't have a vote.
And
so.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Did she go on that thing with Rome? And
no, Kyle.
Oh, Kyle doesn't have oh right. Kyle doesn't have Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I think we're on the same page. I think it could be Tiana. Let's choose somebody from the red tribe and the yellow tribe just to kind of spread it out. Who do you think would be first from the red? I think it's Rome.
I guess Rome, but I don't want it to be Rome, so I don't want to say Rome.
Rome's on my
I'm going to say Genevieve.
I don't want to be Rome. I would be interested. I think Genevieve's playing too smart of a game, and I don't think people are going to pick up on it yet.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I'm not saying Rome on principle because I want him to go far.
Maybe Saul.
Saul, yeah.
Do we know that? Do we think Saul has any connections? I don't know.
I guess he hasn't met anyone else, right? He hasn't gone on any journeys or.
And then what do you think about Yellow? Do you think it'll be Andy? Do you think it'll be? I think it'll be Sam.
I don't want to say this because she's my winner pick, but I feel like Sierra would go first. But I don't want it to be her, so.
I think that she's getting a really good edit, and I think she has a really good social game, and I could see her making up for like that and be like, I'm willing to cut Sam. I don't care if you think that we're such a cool, I'm willing to cut him. And then I don't know. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot up in the air still that we don't know what's like. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but like there's so much we don't know how these dynamics are going to play out. So I think it could go anyway, honestly. But I think it's Tiana.
I think Tiana. I mean, also you have to think like there's Shot in the Darks. There's Sue as an idol.
Yep.
So
full
there's
idol.
A lot that can come into play. Yeah.
Does anybody? So Sue is a full idol. Nobody has anything on red, right?
I guess just the amulet, right?
Just the amulet.
Has.
Caroline has an amulet. Andy has an amulet. And Sam has now a dead idol.
Yeah. You know, Andy, Teeny, Caroline, And Rachel, I feel like would be such a good alliance. I don't know if Andy and Rachel would really work together, but
I
maybe
don't know.
secretly. I feel like that would be a
It's
good.
a fast-paced game now. I think I could see some stuff.
Yeah.
We got this question from Chris. Chris said, "By the way, something I wanted to ask you about last week. We didn't have an episode last week. I'm sorry, everybody. I was sick, but I don't know if you can tell. I'm still sick. It was a different sick last week. I had a migraine. But did Sam and Sierra remind you of Sean and Ricard? I kind of feel like we might be getting something like that in the long term. I don't know.
No, I feel like it's different vibes.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from because Shannon and Ricard called each other like a brother or sister kind of alliance. They kind of fought back at each other. But like I get it. I don't think I agree.
Yeah.
I
Same.
see
I get it. I don't, but
Sam and
it's
Sierra
different.
more like honestly, I see Sam and Sierra more like a Dom and a Wendell almost.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Ryan said Austin and D. That's also pretty.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a good one. Okay, we have another question. AJ says, "Who's y'all's winner pick?" Both of our winner picks are still in, so very exciting
Yeah.
day. Who's your winner pick,
Mine's
Kara?
mine's Sierra, and I have to say she looked like $1,000,000 last night, so
Yep.
I feel pretty good about it.
Mine's Teeny. Mine's been Teeny. These are also winner picks that we chose. We choose winner picks like before the season, so these
Yeah.
are still going strong. I'm very, very good. I'm feeling really good about both of our winner picks.
Me too. I feel like, yeah, I think either one of them could. I feel like they could both be in the end and both win. So I think they're two good ones.
Agreed. Another question from AJ. What dynamics do you think we'll see in the merge?
A lot of flip-flopping.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see a strong tribe. I think we're going to see
No.
cross-tribal alliances. I don't think that we're going to be like, people are going to be like, all right, Lavo strong. We're going to say Lavo strong. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see maybe the three yellows of Andy, Sam, and Sierra try to stay and then realize that that's not maybe going to happen. And then they kind of
Mhm.
figure out another path forward. But I just don't. I think that they're all kind of fractured. And I think this is going to be a very interesting post-merge.
Yeah, no pagonging is going to be happening. I don't think.
I don't think either. But I think it'll be kind of chaotic, but I think it'll be really interesting. And I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people like I said, a lot of flip-flopping, but I feel like it's not gonna. I don't think alliances are gonna stick. So like I feel like people work together on one vote, work with completely different people on the next vote, and that's gonna be fun.
yeah, like a trust cluster.
Hmm.
Or what did they say in 39? I'm jumping off the ship. 38, jumping off the ship, whatever. All right, we've got one more question from Dakota Anderson. What's up, Dakota? How are you? Dakota asks, can you pick one player from each tribe that has a chance of winning?
Okay.
Okay, let's start with blue. Who do you think has the best chance of winning on blue right now?
Maybe Caroline. I want to say Gabe because I picked Gabe, but I'm feeling like Caroline is in a good position that I don't know, but like I want to go with Gabe. I'm going with Gabe.
I thought about Gabe, and then you said Caroline, and I went, no, I think it's Caroline. I think Caroline.
Caroline.
All right, let's go to red.
Teeny.
You think Teeny has the best chance on red?
I think so. I think Teeny is, yeah, Teeny.
I don't know. Genevieve, we didn't see Genevieve the first 2 days. First 2 episodes, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing of her is amazing right now.
I feel like she's just gonna get caught though eventually. I feel like someone's gonna realize, like, something's gonna come out about the Keyshawn vote. Like, I don't know.
You think it was like
She
too
just
smart for her own
didn't do
good?
well. Yeah.
I just want to defend myself for a second. Stop drinking water. The water is helping. The water is the only thing that's helping. I promise. It's like a dust particle back in my throat or something. I think I could see. I mean, I'm obviously gonna stick with Teeny. Teeny's my winner pick, but I think that Genevieve's getting good at it
Yeah,
now. I mean, not
she
at
is.
first, but
In the last 2 episodes.
yeah,
And she has an episode title. The
yeah.
episode title, this one was
I
something she
mean,
said.
crazy, and I just think that she is so smart, and I just I don't know. I don't know. I could see it both ways. Okay, now on to yellow.
Oh, I have to go with Sierra, but also I feel like Andy has a good chance of winning.
I think Andy has a better chance than Sam, and I think
Yeah.
Andy has a better chance than Rachel. I don't actually, Rachel's going into this Murgatory as kind of a free number. We've seen Rachel be pretty smart. I don't know how Rachel is socially. I think she's okay socially. I don't think she's the best socially.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I feel like it could be anyone's game. I feel like Rachel is gonna have good people around her that will get her far, but will she win? I don't know. I feel like Andy has a better shot at winning, but I have to go with Sierra just because I picked Sierra. I
Yeah.
believe in her.
I'll go with Andy.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just a lot to be known, and I really feel like it's not. I felt pretty confident in Kenzie's winnability last season,
Mhm.
and I felt pretty confident that Dee was going to win for a while.
Yeah.
That was actually post-merge, so it's like really hard to tell right now.
Yeah, I feel like going into merge, I feel like maybe we'll have a better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like right now though, like literally anyone could win.
Really, truly. Do you think Rome could win?
Yes. No, I don't know. Well, yes.
I could see
If he
it
gets there, it's impressive. That's
yeah.
part of
I
it.
could see it happening. I just don't really think that people on Red Tribe would want to vote for him.
Yeah, I guess. But like, what has he really done that's been so bad to them besides like following around Soul?
True, but I will say he kind of alienated Asia and Soul originally, and like Soul kind of aired that out to Genevieve.
True. Well, maybe Soul will just be the Mergatory boot and then he won't have to worry about it.
Exactly, you don't have to worry about it. Um, any other questions? AJ says, "What do you think about the next time on Survivor?" I'm not gonna lie, I don't totally remember everything about next time on Survivor. Cara, do you remember better than me?
Um, I kind of like they were just like finding out about merge, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then there
That's
was like a little thing at the end with Andy and I forget who it was, maybe Genevieve.
I'm
I don't know. I'm excited for the next episode.
very excited about the next episode. I mean, I'm always excited about Survivor. That's not the craziest
Yeah.
thing. Well, thank you everybody for sending in the questions. I love that we're able to like chat and like talk to you guys. It makes it so much fun. But now, very important time of the day. It's time for Cara's sweet thing of the episode.
The graphic gets me every time.
It's so good. Cara, remind the viewers what the sweet thing of the week is.
Okay, so I have a podcast with my cousin Kateri called the Sweet Things Podcast, and at the end of each episode, we give our sweet thing of the week, which is like a candy, drink, whatever we like. Survivor, it's a little different. It's just something we like that happened in the episode. And there was a pretty clear one in this episode for me, and it's just how many times Survivor Social Hour was mentioned. Like, I feel like that was the obvious choice.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I think it's a really, really good one. I thought about that one too. But to be different and not say the same thing, I am going to say my sweet thing of the episode is Andy's voting confessional.
Ooh,
Andy
yeah.
and Monica's voting confessional combined. They were just amazing.
Yeah.
And then
That's a good one.
That's a
Mhm.
good one. We have somebody on the TikTok saying the chicken interrupting Jeff was really funny.
That was funny.
That was good. That's a good sweet thing. I think this episode was filled with a lot of great sweet things.
There were a lot of good moments in this episode.
Yeah. All right. Go check out Cara's podcast. It's great. But now it's time for the ultimate award here on Survivor Social. The Social Butterfly Award. Now, we didn't have our episode last week, so I don't know if you can remember, Cara, but I think we should maybe talk about both the Social Butterfly for both last week and this week.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It doesn't, we don't have to, but if you can. We'll start with this week. Who do you think is going to win your Social Butterfly Award for this week?
I had someone in mind, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if it's the best person for it. Or do I just stick with it?
If our award was strategy based, my award would go to Andy this week.
Yeah.
But it's not strategy based. I didn't see a lot of like crazy improvements for Andy's social game this week. So that's why. But I just wanted to give shout out. If it were a strategic award, I would feel like Andy should get it.
I agree. Or if it was like a social awareness award.
Yeah.
Andy
Yeah.
would get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm just gonna go with like who I initially thought, even though I feel like okay, my initial thought was Rachel just because of like the connection she made at the social hour, and I feel like she's just gonna be in a good spot socially going into the merge. So I feel like she, you know, is doing well socially. But like in the back of my mind, I have like Teeny there, and I think Teeny probably takes the cake on this one.
I really think that Teeny did a great job this episode. I would be happy giving it to Teeny. I would also say, and then I've seen this over here, I would also say Caroline.
Yeah, that makes the most sense actually, and I think it's definitely Caroline.
Because I think that like Caroline just is creating those connections, strengthening her bond with Teeny, strengthening everything. Like I just think that we saw a lot of good stuff from Caroline this episode. And I definitely think, she has that connection with Tiana. She has the connection with Teeny. She even has the connection.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I think.
No, it's definitely Caroline.
Caroline, yeah. Okay, great. Caroline,
Yeah.
you are this week's
Caroline.
Social Butterfly Award.
Caroline needs more recognition. I feel like she's not getting enough recognition, like, not enough screen time. She needs more.
Yeah.
Just more.
I agree. Now, last week is going to be harder because it's not fresh on our mind. I would personally give last week's to Genevieve.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
She was definitely, like, strategy-wise the best, but I also think she just kind of showed that everyone trusted her. She was able to kind of coerce people to do things that she wanted. And I just think that she's a great player.
Yeah, getting Rome and Soul to work together on a vote when they don't like each other
exactly
is impressive. So definitely Genevieve.
Exactly. Well, that is our show today, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with my coughs and for listening to Cara really, truly carry this podcast on her shoulders. As always, Cara, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Sweet Things Podcast on Instagram. Yeah, on Instagram. And there's so many places you can find Tegwyth. TikTok, Instagram.
Dead on the floor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just truly a really horrible episode for those of you listening on podcast.
I don't want to at Tegwyth on Instagram, right? I don't want to like say the wrong ats and then
at Tegwyth on Instagram and then on TikTok it's Survivor Simulation.
Survivor Simulation. There you go.
Look, wait. Follow Tegwyth on TikTok.
There we go.
I don't know why
Make sure you're following Tegwyth. Great content.
But as always, make sure we do have Stock Watch tomorrow at noon. Make sure to check that out. Always a really great listen. And then, as always, got something for you.
Got something for you.
Cara, take it away.
Saturday at 3, and you're definitely going to want to tune into that. It's always a fun time with the three of them, so tune in. And then, you know, of course, we have our pre-show, after show on Wednesdays, and then us on Thursdays at 9.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You guys are always the best. I can't wait for this week, and it's just such a fun season, and it's so much fun covering with you guys. As always, make sure to stay social, and we'll see you next Thursday.